I decided that I'd finally get round to fixing the coupling on my 08. Maybe not my best decision ever. Catch you at the other end. Right then, today, well, a few things, but not so crucially, but this is first up. Servicing tool set, courtesy of one of my offspring very generously. So I'm going to be using that. That's not really what the video is about, but give it a go. More particularly, if you can see, we have a 08 that is, let's see now. Well, it's a single coupler right now, shall we say, because here, whilst the bow and spring are present, connection between that and then an end pocket and the coupler, it fell and snapped, as you can tell by the squint buffer as well. It came down hard, it snapped. So we're going to be trying to fix it. Now, fix it is probably a bold word. Hornby are very kindly sent me these. Sent me two. But look at these small springs, that's what I'm not looking forward to. So you can see that. So yes, this is the intention. How well it works, time alone will tell. But first of all, we need to get the body off and get access to this. So this is all real time. I haven't been looking up things to see how it should go. While I'm at it, I may just I should definitely get the get the paperwork so I know what I'm doing first of all. So allow me a pause and I'll be back. It should have instructions inside it. Gives me at least half a chance of doing it properly. Class 08. Routine maintenance. No, we don't want routine maintenance. We need the non-routine maintenance. So is it the body removal or is it the keeper plate? The answer to that is I'm not sure which. Not sure which at all. Okay. We'll keep that there. We'll give it a go. We'll open our servicing toolkit and see if it has the tools suitable to service with. Here we have what we have, by the way, just to give you an idea. Pliers, tweezers, that's for removing the tender plug, socket screwdriver set, and a wee thing of oil. So it's very nicely packaged. I would say it's not exactly overly comprehensive, but there you go. That's what we have. Guessing that one of these should do. What do I want to remove? I feel it's in there, so I'm going to go off to keep it base keeper plate and see if that does the job. 1. Two. And following Mr. May's idea of the geography of parts, this being the middle one, well laid in between the other two. Okay. So that should release base keeper plate, which it does. It really is a lovely little mechanism. When you see it like that, you've got the, let me see if I can see what I was doing here. You've got the spring-loaded contacts, you've got the bearings, you've got the cogs, gearing rather to the central driven axle, you've got the base keeper plate. It comes away there for a single piece. It's very nicely done, very nicely presented, very nicely realised. So, does that help any is the next question. Well, here, that's where I'm going to wish I had better eyes. Yes. I think for all that, useful though it was, that's not the issue. And it should probably go back into place. You can also see from this, well, you may be able to see from this, come back up to show you that that one is really not how it should be at all. I'm going to make some adjustments to that, I think. Let me bring this down, I think it makes more sense. Yeah, you can really see that's not a happy looking contact. So, using the supplied pliers, well, how are we go at straightening that? Yeah, that's better. I think that one could be, perhaps I'll use the tweezers for this. Just going to tease that out very slightly more. Yeah, happier with that, I think. That may be a bit too much, but we'll give it a go. Okay, get the center one back on. Just not overly tight. Enough to get a hold, enough to give you confidence it won't come loose. That can be seen or not, but that's about right. Has that changed anything? Okay, and the last one on the back. And it goes. Tips are nicely magnetized. Just to nip it up. Okay. So we're back to taking the body off. I need to check. There's 4 screws on each side. There'll only be 2 on each side that will be used to actually take the body off. It seems to be the outer set in each case. So let's try that. Now, is that catching? Because I don't think that is. Try up here where it's easier to see what I'm doing to begin with. No. I'm going to try a finer head. That feels better. Hopefully this is actually still in camera. These are loose, but they're not happy to come away yet. Back to the tweezers, I think. Take them out. This is where they go for flyer. One there. Perhaps needs just a little bit more teasing. Wouldn't have thought so, but doesn't want to come out. There we are. Okay. That's definitely loosened it. Go to the back end again. That back pipe work, separately applied piece there, is certainly interfering, but it is plastic and it bends, so hopefully not doing any long-term damage. And again, back with the tweezers. There. There. Okay. That should now allow the body to be off. For me, it'll be the first time for this wee fella. There we are. Okay. Body can be set to one side. There is the chassis. Very neatly designed little fella. What, if any, difference does that make? None. None at all. So what is that holding on in place? This is where I get nervous. Well, it's going to have to be inner screws then. There's no point putting that back on, even though I don't think it right now. At least don't think it accomplished anything. Frustratingly. There's a little bit of yellow in there. Is that from the buffer being squashed in? I don't think so. Anyway. Oh, sorry, out of focus. Right, so we're going to attempt, at least, to we're going to do two things actually. While it's off, let me check one thing, which is how does an AE model of DCC Concepts power bank, the smaller one, compare? I know there's a new Hornby one due out, we hope soon, but is there realistically anywhere for this to go in here? Probably not. So could it go in the cab? We can't tell because the cab's a separate piece. Cab cover at least. And I think looking at that no, that will not. That's not going to go in there. Definitely not. Unless it was angled, but I think it would be ambitious, shall we say. That's not what I'm doing just now. Don't get distracted, Greg. Okay. Let's get that back on there for now. Okay, so I think the only thing I can see to do next is take away these. And see what that offers me. Okay, let's work with that as the only theory we have left. That one came loose. Didn't need to be tugged out. Hoping this is focusing. There we are. Second one. And that is adhered by magnet. These screws are actually longer than the body screws, which I find interesting. Maybe I'll be back to taking the base keeper off as well, because it looks to me like it's going to have to, surely. This is what we call outside of my comfort zone. More disassembly than I would be wanting to do, but I should say a very genuine thank you to Hornby. This was supplied without any cost, and it is also the second time I think it was once sent back again for a problem with the couplings. This time not my fault, but one of them seemed to snag and get torn up somehow. Sent it back, and just as Let's Make Tracks discovered, I'm pretty sure it was a new 08 they sent back to me. Lo and behold, a month later, it decided to derail and obeyed the laws of gravity rather well and fell about 2.5–3 feet onto the hard floor, which is when this damage occurred. Buffer and coupling. So at that, I didn't even ask, so I didn't have the face when I went to ask them to fix it for me. I just asked if they would be so kind as to send out some couplings, or a coupling in fact, and that's what they did, except they sent out, as I say, they sent out 2. So no complaints with Hornby in that regard at all. Now what does this achieve that I just unscrewed there? What is being held by that? What is now loosened by it? And I'm sure something is the answer, but I'm not entirely sure I can discern what. In fact, I'm perfectly sure I cannot discern what. So, don't know really what that's got me, as I say, to be quite honest. Keep hoping that it's going to suddenly become obvious what it is I'm meant to do. So let's go back to the base keeper plate. If it turns out this was all I needed to begin with, I will be rather frustrated. But this is my ignorance, and hopefully means it doesn't have to be yours. So I'm leaving these in a separate line in the middle here. That one again is slightly more reluctant to move. There we go. So that's them all out. Back off with the base keeper. Now then, going to have to be quite brave. Take a deep breath, Greg, and somehow get that off. But I really don't know how. Oh, there we go. That certainly had some more. Oh yes. It's gone ping. The spring also went ping. However, amazingly, didn't ping too far. So that's interesting, because I took off the body and these other 2 screws, which I still don't know what they do, for no purpose that I can discern. But it was just the base keeper I needed to take off in the first place. Oh well. Now then, let us see what we need to do next. Good news is I have 2 sets of couplings, so if stroke when I mess it up, there's a second chance to mess it up. Nice resealable packet. Take one of the couplings out. I have that spring there, so I'm actually just going to keep that one. That gives me 2 to lose if need be. Just for any who may be interested, this is the you can see where the brake is. I don't know of any glue that I would trust or cement on such a small contact area as that to set that properly. It looks eminently doable, but in practice, I think the Scottish phrase is a hae my doots. So anyway, still here, good. Right now, so this as an entity is what we want to see placed there. That is not the hard bit. Hard bit is figuring out how to get the spring on it and attached without it all going hither and thither. So I'm just going to remove the NEM coupling. Oh, should have done that on camera, of course, but I didn't. There we are, just remove that. It's one less thing to work with in the meantime. So let me do a dry run, as it were. Trying to figure out how this is going to stay in. So you can see, just trying to point this out, sorry, off camera. Right, can you see this sort of slot here? That sort of allows for some movement, as I understand it, because on the underside of this, there is that little clip there. That has to get in there somehow, which to me seems rather unlikely, but at the same time absolutely essential. So, I don't know if you can make that out, but it has a very slight hook to it, so it kind of catches. Is that just going to be trial and error? Or is there some particular way of doing it? Back with the tweezers, that's for sure. I feel the only option is sort of angle it so that the lip catches, and then you get to press it down. But it could be entirely wrong, because if you angle it, unfortunately there's nothing else left. If you do angle it, let me think this through now. If you do angle it, how do you then get the spring in? One thing at a time. There'll be a lot more looking and sighing, I feel, before this is accomplished. is as well these couplings work, because otherwise you would question the hassle of doing all this. I'm going to try the thin pliers instead. I think I need the extra grip that the tweezers can't quite manage. Okay. I rather suspect you've seen more than enough to see what I'm trying to do. And it'll be a case of just working away at this until suddenly I go, I can't do this. Or somehow it decides to plop in. So in order to get my eyes closer to the mechanism and out of the way of the camera that's sitting here, I'm going to pause the recording. Sorry about that, I had intended, but it seems a bit pointless just to carry on recording the same failures. Oh no, hang on, that felt like it. No. Flattering to deceive. It is very fine. Okay, going to pause. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in a moment, as far as you're concerned. What can you do? Okay, it's about an hour later. That is not fun. However, I think it's just about done, at least, and this is, I should say, it is just about half done. I have now got the coupling unit in place. It is now latched under that tiny little clip that's there. Now all I have to do is stop it coming out whilst I get the spring in place, which I think is going to be almost impossible. Let's see what happens. Okay, trying to get the spring on now. So I want to show it at this stage to see. That's better. But yeah, this is tricky. Hoping you can see that. So there you can see the spring has caught not where it should. It's caught on the lip instead of on the thing itself. Now that does allow me some springing. Approximately allows a bit of centering. It's not as smooth as it should be. And I suspect that in a short order that will actually ping off and never be found again. But given how hard it is to get it in, I am tempted to leave that there. What do you think? What should I do? Okay, update. It's not in. But that is what we're trying to do. However, we are now on to spring number 2, because spring number 1, well, it's gone for its holidays. Yeah. I've been debating quite a bit whether a spring-loaded coupling is really that important. But onwards and upwards. There is another reason I'm persevering, has to be honest, and that reason is rather poor. That reason is that about half an hour ago, what feels about 10 hours ago, I gave a call to young Mr. Peachy. Said, look, what did you do with these couplings? They're horrible to work with. And he gave me exactly the information I needed. He said, what you need to do is take the 08, parcel it up, and phone customer services and send it back and get them to fix it for you. Now you see, Chris and I don't actually know each other that well or for that long. That to me is a challenge. And therefore, I'm still here, trying to prove him wrong. Even whilst there is this nagging feeling inside me that I'm not going to succeed. And he's going to prove me wrong. But there we are, that's the explanation. Now, to give you some indication of what we're trying to achieve here, let's see if I can bring this in. Okay, that's the end of the spring. That's the kind of housing it needs to get into. But that there, how much it needs to compress, push down and sit over that little post. It's meant to go in the inside the spring. So it needs to compress about 2/3 to half to 2/3 of what its current length is. And that's why if you get that wrong, bing! So we have one lost, one on, and one spare in the bag. Be back soon. Okay. Next stage in Operation Lose Your Brain is to notice that the post into which the spring should go on this side is actually longer than that side. I mean, it's harder to compress it that way than it would be this way. The reason it's compressing it this way is because with this in place, it seemed very difficult to be able to do it the other way around. However, we might try that. The reason the base keeper is in place just now is that I thought it would be necessary to keep this mechanism in place, which it is. So if it won't work putting it that way, then I'll blue tack this down so it won't come away, take off the base keeper and try it in the other direction. Let's see. I think something close to amazing has happened, but you can see I had to go with the take off the base keeper plate, use the blue tack. That to me looks like it is back in place. Now if I can manage to get the base keeper back on without ruining anything else, then take off the blue tack, we will know for sure. Right, let's cook with gas. I've been working this way around, so I'll keep my See if I clip anything now that ruins it. I will not be a happy bunny. So if this works, and it can be done from home, but it is absolutely not recommended, because that is a horrible job. And shouldn't talk too soon. I'm not even convinced it's definitely on properly until I get the blue tack off and everything else in place, but it's the closest I've been for about 2 hours. Okay, let's remove the blue tack and see if everything is still where it should be. Oh, look at that. It's springing. Right. Now, refit the coupling, preferably the right way up, Greg, which is, it's come away, hang on. Now is not the time to mess this up. Come on. Yep. Okay, this wasn't the bit I was meant to have problems with. As soon as I get close to it, the coupling keeps jumping. Why is that not going in? There we go. A little bit more perseverance. Okay. No, that's not right. Is it? It's about in line with that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, so the Modi Glide, you will also have noticed that in order to do this, I did remove this pipe that's under there. That allowed me to get the slight angle required to fit the coupling. So I'm not going to refit that just now until I'm confident that this has worked properly. But, and as far as it goes for now, I am a happy bunny. So, let's see if we have any success in this thing still working. Nothing there was mechanical, shouldn't have affected anything, but you never know. Don't even know this 9-volt battery is actually. Oh, it's vaguely, it's sort of dead. It's getting a little bit of movement. I'm pretty sure that's the battery, not the loco. Anyway, great. Happy with that. If for any reason the loco is actually dead and I've done something stupid, then I'll be back again. But if not, assume the battery is dead, the loco's fine. Otherwise you'll hear shortly. Okay. Oh yes, and the old like, comment, subscribe. It's great to have the interaction of the community of those who are interested in these little locos. Hope that's helpful for someone else who has the same torture of trying to get that to work. If you know of an easier way, a better way, I'm sure some way you do, then I'm all ears. But I do hope not to have to do that again. Just for that final proof, here she is. So then, does it work? Apart from derailing it, yes, it works. So, turned into a bit of a saga. Definitely lost one spring. What you didn't see is that for some reason when I put it back together, although it moved a little bit under the old 9-volt, then it went dead. Totally dead. Nothing. Not a chink of movement. Even the dog's upset. Aren't you, Georgie? So, I couldn't figure out what I'd done wrong. Had I over-tightened something? Tried loosening anything off? Tried it with Gauge Master on the track? Nothing. Tried it with wires to the wheels? Nothing. Eventually took off the body again. Took off, thought perhaps the missing spring had lodged somewhere it shouldn't have, either jammed up the mechanism was running free. Maybe it had caused a short somewhere, no evidence of it. Thought as a motor died, so managed to take out the motor, check it, motor's running freely. Broken wire, tried to adjust the wires, nothing. Eventually put a couple of contact points from the controller onto the solder pads where the power feed wires come into the motor. That's all fine, so it's clearly on the underside. Took off the base keeper plate again, put the contact power onto the spring-loaded contacts, running fine. Looking at the base keeper plate and the wiper pickups, trying to find anywhere that would cause a break, no evidence whatsoever. Somehow in handling it, I must have, with my big old thumb, pushed in the spring-loaded contacts in such a way they weren't quite making proper contact with the base keeper plate. Adjusted them forward a wee bit, put it back together, and it runs as you saw at the end there. Just because it was one of those days. But I am pleased to get it going again with 2 couplings. I hope you thought it was worth watching, and thanks for sticking around this long. I think it's about the 3rd false ending. This is definitely the last one. As I say, like, comment, subscribe. See you again soon. Thanks very much.